So this kind of next part of the session is going to be focused on education for environmental change. And we've got a few guest speakers from different organisations who are going to be contributing insights about how they've energised and supported people to, bring about environmental change. Our first speaker is going to be Becky. Becky is going to join us remotely, so we will be streaming her in on Zoom, so she should appear on the screen. Becky is a Nature Makers art activity provider and artist educator, working predominantly in the West Midlands. She delivers eco-friendly, mindful nature, art, craft, and outdoor play workshops and events focused on sustainability and plastic-free creativity. And so hopefully she'll be joining us very soon. And then afterwards we'll have two of the guest speakers. We've got Kerry and also Izzy joining as well. Ask Becky to. Hey there, Becky. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, can you hear me okay?
Awesome. We can hear you as well.
Good.
Over to you whenever you're ready, Becky.
Thank you. Great. So I just need to screen share, yep?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, you do.
Just find it. Oh. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I can't seem to find it. Is it where my face should be, or do I need to click on something?
Click on share.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, something was hiding it. That's why. Sorry, apologies. If you can just let me know when that is it working?
So at the minute we can see you, Becky, but we can't see your slides at the minute.
For some reason it isn't working. I'm so sorry about this.
Does it say share, like does it say you're sharing your screen?
I haven't got anything on there. Do I not need to click on a link from yourself that says
If you click on the share button at the bottom of the Zoom meeting,
yeah.
Oh no, it should be multiple people should be able to share.
Here we go. Right.
That's it.
How are we doing now?
Yeah, that's it. And now start the presentation.
So sorry, there we go. Brilliant.
That's it.
Everybody.
You just click on
Fabulous. So I just get rid of this as well.
That's it. Yeah, it's working now.
Can you also see the Zoom section on the other side, or is that blocking?
No, we can just see the screen now.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, and apologies for that. So good morning, everybody. It's great to be here today at the Plastic Free Gathering with you all, and it's brilliant to have the opportunity to chat with you. Apologies for not being able to be there in person today. But yeah, so my name is Becky Emery and I'm a Nature Makers art activity provider, and I'm one of 21 franchisees across England. Nature Makers is the UK's leading provider of award-winning mindful nature art, craft and outdoor play experiences, and we make plastic-free, planet-friendly ways of working core to the ethos of what we do. And the way I usually explain Nature Makers to people, and to people who've not heard about us before, is that it's kind of in between a forest school and an art workshop, with a healthy dose of positive environmental action. So a little about me. my background is in art and design, and I was previously a graphic designer. So being able to utilise my creativity and incorporate it with my love for nature, conservation and environmental awareness was an opportunity I just had to take back in March 2020 when I met Faye, the original Nature Makers creator. Yes, just before COVID hit, I signed the dotted line to be the very first franchisee for Nature Makers. Thankfully, even during those early pandemic days when we were told to keep our distance from each other, Nature Makers outdoor workshops helped safely reconnect families with the nature they'd forgotten and brought peace to their anxious minds. During the pandemic, I noticed friends remembering and appreciating nature on our one daily walk a day, or when we had to sit outside with friends and family. We looked at the trees, noticed the insects, took it all in and found a quiet peace in it. It felt like then more than ever that our connection to nature was detrimental to our health. And Nature Makers believe it's vital to our physical and mental health to be outdoors, to care about and protect the environment around us, and to share this with others. And in our workshops and sessions, we have removed single-use plastic and discovered how simple and effective it can be to use alternatives within the creative activity plans we've developed. And our aim is to encourage and inspire others to reduce and remove all plastic waste within art crafting for good. When planning workshops and sessions, so many art and craft materials, especially and unfortunately those aimed for children's use, can contain plastic particles that cause harm to our ecosystems and our health, as I'm sure all of you know. Familiar culprits like glitter, googly eyes, paints, pipe cleaners, foam stickers, sequins, PVA glue, and so many more are materials we consciously move away from in our sessions. They are also often dishearteningly wrapped in plastic packaging themselves. We avoid using these at all costs, not just because they're often poorly and cheaply made and produced, but because we know there is a much bigger cost in using them. So plastic waste, as we know, is one of the leading pollutants in our environment, from the oceans to our local parks. Microplastics, these tiny particles of plastic less than 5 millimeters in size, have been found in the most remote areas of the world. And when plastics end up in landfill, they release harmful chemicals into the soil, the water, the air, harming these ecosystems that are precious to us. Tiny particles that cause huge problems. And you are likely here today because you too want to see a plastic-free world. That plastic waste is one of the primary contributors to biodiversity loss, as it disrupts natural habitats, pollutes food chains, and the rest. Plastic also causes a health risk to humans, and it can contribute to chronic exposure to these toxic substances, which for Nature Makers is especially concerning for children's developing bodies and minds. Educating parents and families about this through what we do is something I try to communicate in quite subtle ways through the sessions I run, offering new innovative ideas and materials to make arts and crafts start encouraging and positive conversations. And by transitioning to more sustainable alternatives, we can drastically reduce the risk of plastic use, creating healthier spaces for children to learn, create, and encourage the use of eco-friendly alternatives. So this is just a few images from some of the workshops I've delivered over the years. And as you can see, the use of natural materials is prevalent in what I do. So materials like leaves, wood, bamboo, paper, natural fibres, not only will reduce our dependency on plastic, but are also renewable and biodegradable. At Nature Makers, we use leaves to print with, sticks for making weavings and for art making. We've used waste fabrics and wool to create woven art, herbs to make sensory edible dough, And we love to use natural paints, source plant-based glues, use chalks, charcoals, soy crayons, and introducing this a more traditional pre-plastic era of art and craft methods like weaving, or an ancient form of Japanese printing you might have heard of is called hapazome. And that is a really effective way of using petals and leaves to print with. Also, just going as far back as prehistoric style mud painting can bring a joyful, playful process and create lasting memories for children in our Nature Maker sessions. So many of the non-plastic alternatives that we use can be recycled, so that reduces the amount of waste that is sent to landfill. And if using natural materials that have been foraged or sourced, most can go straight back into nature again, or into compost to be recycled that way. The production of plastic materials requires large amounts of energy, but by opting for materials with lower carbon footprint, we help conserve the precious energy and resources that we need. I really love the phrase make, do and mend, which I'm sure a lot of you have come across. And my grandparents were the ultimate make, do and menders. I can see now as an adult that how they totally inspired me and helped me to see what a purposeful way of using materials and reducing waste it is. Moving away from plastic opens up opportunities for circular economies where products and materials are reused, repurposed and recycled instead of ending up in landfill. With a little creative thinking and inspiration from the nature around us, there can be new ways of making art and craft with children. And many of these alternatives also can help save money while helping the planet. When working outdoors, it's crucial we can continue to tread gently on the earth. Whether it's biodegradable glitters, natural paints, plant-based glues, soy crayons, or hog's hair wooden paintbrushes, there are alternatives to be found to plastic-laden materials. Rather than buying plastic-based items, we can source upcycled materials like old magazines, packaging, textiles. In the corner of my office, there's what I like to call as a cardboard mountain that I collect cardboard to use in our workshops. And these can serve as wonderful sustainable options to explore and really create more ideas for creativity. And as a designer myself, I used to create and sell hand-cut recycled paper art for years using magazines, envelopes and scrap papers. And the results have been really effective. In carefully sourcing and supporting companies that are committed to producing sustainable materials like recycled plastic scissors and plant-based glues, we help contribute and build a market for the greener alternatives. This increases demand and encourages others to follow suit. Yes, there can be an additional financial cost and initial expense to sourcing some of these, but it's balanced out by using the natural or repurposed materials. Mud paint is especially dirt cheap, so I fully recommend that as an alternative. Teaching children especially about the importance of sustainability in art can ensure that the next generation of artists will pause to think about environmental impact from an early age. Within Nature Makers sessions, this also hopefully impacts the adults, parents, teachers or nurseries that I work with to help shape their mindsets into moving to make plastic-free choices. By removing plastic use at Nature Makers, we are helping protect our planet's ecosystems, ensuring safer environments for ourselves and future generations, and encouraging a more sustainable approach to creativity. So thank you so much for listening today. To find out more about how Nature Makers make a difference, please do follow us at Nature Makers on our socials. Visit the website nature-makers.co.uk, and yeah, I really hope that you leave today's event encouraged and hopeful, and I look forward to answering any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much for those insights. We really do appreciate it.
And really great to hear about the kind of things that you've been doing with children, young people, and helping them to be more considerate and thoughtful about the materials that they're using and others at the schools as well. Yeah, that was really good. And followed on really nicely from what Amy was talking about prior to our break. So thank you so much. I'll introduce our next speaker now. Our next speaker is Kerry. Kerry is a part-time primary school teacher in Nottingham. She has 20 years experience in the classroom. Passionate about education and sustainability, she co-founded the award-winning charity Kids Against Plastic with her husband and 2 daughters. An organisation now partnering closely with Common Seas on their Plastic Clever Schools initiative. Kerry plays a crucial role. Oh, sorry, I lost my hand. She lost my hand. Kerry plays a crucial role in reducing plastic waste and embracing sustainable practices. She works directly with educators and pupils, empowering young people to become powerful advocates for the planet. Having witnessed firsthand the passion and determination of the younger generation, Kerry firmly believes they hold the key to solving the plastic crisis. So whenever you're ready, Kerry, I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
It's working. Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today with so many like-minded people. Just like my introduction said, my name is Kerry Meek, and I am the mother of Amy, who you heard speak earlier today. Very proud mother, obviously, after such a wonderful, inspiring talk. I am a primary school teacher now, 20 years up. 20 years as a primary school teacher. I'm now part-time, and I have the privilege of spending half of my week working on the charity Kids Against Plastic and our partner, who is Common Seas. And through that work, I get to see how powerful children can be when they're given the tools and voice to make such a big difference. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about.
I think we're all right.
Okay. This morning I'm going to talk to you about why teaching children about plastic pollution is so important, and tell you about some of the free resources that we have available to schools, especially our Plastic Clever Schools programme that Amy talked to you a little bit about earlier. I'm also going to share with you some of the other initiatives that we are running that you can see on screen here. Now, I think teaching children about plastic pollution is important because they are the ones that are going to inherit the planet that we're leaving behind. When children understand where plastic ends up, in rivers, oceans, animals, and even ourselves, it suddenly stops being a visible problem. They start asking questions, coming up with ideas, and making changes in their homes and at school. The spark of curiosity and action at a young age can grow into lifelong habits and even future careers that can help protect our planet. So, what is Plastic Clever Schools? I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. At its heart, Plastic Clever Schools is not just about banning plastic, it's kind of in the name, it's about being clever with plastic, learning about how to reduce unnecessary items, making informed choices, and inspiring wider change within the school and beyond. Kids Against Plastic partnered with Common Seas a few years ago to build a programme that provides a structured but flexible framework for schools. Children learn about the problems caused by plastic pollution. They carry out research about the different types of plastics that are out there used in their own schools, and then they take steps, the necessary steps to reduce the most harmful and unnecessary items that they identify. Now, as Amy said, it is designed to be pupil-led, and that is really important to us. Rather than adults telling children what to do, Plastic Clever Schools gives children the knowledge, the tools, and most importantly, voice to make a change. The sense of ownership is what makes the difference between a one-off project and a long-time shift in behaviour. The process actually involves 3 simple steps. It involves inspire, investigate, and act. These stages provide a clear path for schools to follow and ensure that students move from learning to real-world action. Becky, you doing it for me? Thank you.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay, the first stage is called the Inspired stage, and it is about raising awareness. This usually begins with an assembly or a lesson in the classroom about the problem with plastic pollution. And we actually come into schools and deliver them ourselves, or we provide resources to help schools do them, or the children to do them. After that, the schools then carry out a litter pick, usually on the school site or within the local grounds and the local community. And then when children pick up crisp packets that were dropped maybe just a week ago, alongside plastic wrappers that are maybe 10 or 20 years old, they begin to understand that plastic doesn't just disappear. It's a vivid way of showing that the choices we make today can actually last for generations. And next slide, please. The second stage is called Investigate, and this is where students are encouraged to become young scientists and auditors. They are encouraged to carry out an audit of the plastic within their school. So most of them are usually really surprised and sometimes even shocked by what they find. So how many wrappers are thrown away in a lunch pack? How many whiteboard pens or glue sticks are used in a classroom over a week or a month? How many yogurt pots end up in the bin after just one lunch hour? Seeing the numbers written down, hundreds, sometimes thousands in a single month, can be a turning point for children and teachers, actually. It's no longer an abstract issue that's just out there in the ocean or read about in books or magazines. It's something that they can see and measure actually in their own environment. From there, they then create an action plan to tackle two of the most problematic or unnecessary plastics that they've identified. Now, we deliberately keep it to two so that the goal feels achievable and that success can actually be celebrated. Next one. The final stage is the ACT stage, and this is when children move from the research to actually leadership roles. They design and run their own campaigns to reduce and eliminate problem plastics that they've actually chosen and identified within the audit. That might involve persuading the school kitchen to switch from single-use sauce sachets to refillable dispensers. It might be from installing water fountains and providing all students with reusable water bottles, or even writing to local councillors for getting better recycling facilities. Because if it's their plan, they're more invested in it and are wanting to make it happen. And we're going to, and also their enthusiasm is quite contagious. Impact on their teachers and staff. We've seen parents, teachers, and even local businesses change their practices because of campaigns that have been run by pupils as young as maybe 7 or 8 years old. That is brilliant to see. Okay, next slide. Of course, we know how busy teachers are. I vouch for that myself. And resources are tight, finances are low. So to support schools, we've developed a free downloadable toolkit. It gives a clear overview of the 3 stages and the evidence that schools need to demonstrate their success. Alongside this, there are essential supporting resources that help achieve each stage, and there are key skills that the students will be using to complete the process. We've also got workbooks for the students too. It guides them through the 3 stages and includes learn sections that introduce key concepts related to topics like marine plastic pollution, climate change, the 5 Gs you can see up there, circular economy, all sorts of things like that. And it's full of examples, templates, and great ideas from other children that are doing things around the world, that will inspire them. I actually have copies of these with me if you want to come and have a look in person. Right, as well as Plastic Over Schools, we have a few other initiatives, and one of them is our Action Against Climate Change Award. Now, this programme, it actually builds on a lot of the skills that they developed in Plastic Over Schools, and it is naturally follows on from it, but it focuses more on climate change instead of just plastic. Again, it follows the same simple 3 steps: inspire, investigate, and act, and it also comes with a wide range of resources to support teachers and students. Schools might focus on improving biodiversity, they might audit their energy, they might use or run a campaign to promote active travel within the school, and it's just a natural step on from being plastic clever, and it's becoming more popular and growing. Okay. Now, Amy also talked about a very recent campaign that we're running, which is Action Against Plastic Gum, which is important. Yeah, thank you. This grew out of a campaign that we're actually running with new gum. Many people don't realise that chewing gum is actually a form of plastic, and it releases microplastics when it's chewed. In fact, as Amy said in her talk, one study found that 250,000 pieces of microplastic are released into the saliva in 1 hour of chewing one piece of single gum. So, our award, or our initiative, helps students learn about the issue and helps them to take action. As well as the usual steps, encourages people to write their local MPs about the need for change. And we provide template letters, we provide fact sheets and case studies to make the process easy and effective for children and also teachers that might be supported. Okay. And lastly, our school for schools already that have an eco club, which I think almost all schools do now. We have some resources for eco clubs that we created and called Climate Action Team Resources, hence the CAPS logo. These are designed to help staff and pupils plan activities, run meetings, and track progress. So teachers are very busy people, and this just helps them give them structure and free resources to help out. So whether you're tackling waste, energy, biodiversity, transport, these CAPS resources give you a structure that helps make it easier and keep that momentum going throughout the year when you start to tire. You just maybe 2 or 3 years and the final. Now, before I finish, I just want to leave you with this. When we get children involved in activism and tackling problems like plastic pollution, we're not just teaching them facts about the environment. We're helping them build the skills, confidence, and empathy that they'll need to shape the future. Kids have this amazing ability to see things differently and come up with ideas that we might not even think of. By giving them the knowledge, voice, and the tools to act now, we're not only cutting down our plastic in schools and communities today, but we're also raising a generation who will keep on standing up for our planet tomorrow. Thank you for listening. If you want to find out more, you can download your resources on the website on the screen here, or you can have a chat to me and have a look at the resources that I brought along for you to see. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Kerry. That was a really insightful talk. Thank you. On a personal note, I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, so I found a lot of the talks and the questions really insightful. And it made me want to mention one of the wonderful things about the nature of this event, in that we've got such a wonderful host of inspiring talks, but also those pockets, those windows of opportunity to be able to network and meet with new people, learn what they're doing in their workplaces, in their personal lives, in their voluntary roles, so that we can kind of turbocharge and accelerate the work in which we're all doing in our own lives. So yeah, hopefully get to chat with you a little bit later on, Kerry. So I'd love to introduce our next speaker now. Our next speaker is Izzy. She's from Bournemouth University. She's the Sustainability Support Officer for the university and supports the implementation of initiatives to embed sustainability at their university, with a focus on food waste, biodiversity, travel and education for sustainable development. Izzy is also responsible for engaging students, staff and the local community with sustainability through awareness campaigns, training and also events. So whenever you're ready, Izzy, you're welcome to chat with us.
Stand up as a mover. First one, that's right. Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here and talk to you. So yeah, as I said, I'm the Sustainability Support Officer at Bournemouth University. And I was originally a student at Bournemouth University. I studied geography as my undergrad and then did a master's in green economy. So I've kind of done the full cycle, I suppose. I'm still here. Now my lecturers are now my colleagues, which is really cool. And just, I don't know if any of you know about Bournemouth, but being coastal, the love for the sea runs deep in Bournemouth. And we know that plastic pollution is such a big issue when we talk about the marine environment. So it's a really, you feel it a lot in the local area. So just to give you a bit of an introduction to Bournemouth University, we've got 18,000 students, roughly around that, 2,000 staff, we've got 2 big main campuses, and then some other various sites as well. And we are what is called an eco-campus, and that means we have an environmental and energy management system which helps us to control, manage the environment. It's quite a corporate thing. A lot of businesses will have an environmental and energy management system, but it's a really good way of managing our environmental impact. Yeah. So our motto as a university is to learn is to change, which I'm very, very passionate about. And I just want to start by saying that we are not perfect. I think from those stats there, we have a lot of people, we have a lot of buildings, we produce waste. I'm not claiming here that we're some magical university that has solved all the plastic pollution problems, but I'm here just to tell you a bit about what we've been doing. And yeah, you'll feel motivated to do something from there. Yeah, so just to demonstrate, we produce waste. We produce a lot of waste. And part of my role, actually, I've got a bit of a strange role at the university. So I'm half operational. So, for example, I order the bins, I communicate with our waste contractor, I collect waste data. But then the other half of my role is speaking to our students, staff, telling them how important it is to reduce their waste. So I have a really nice perspective of both sides. As you can see with this graph, our waste, it was really, really high before COVID, and then obviously in COVID it dropped because not many people were on our campus. And then since then, it's steadily been increasing, but we have started to plateau. So hopefully we are getting somewhere, trying to go back down. And I think what's really nicely been highlighted here so far is the goal is not just to recycle, right? So most universities, their sort of metric, I suppose, for measuring their waste performance is recycling rate, but we've actually chosen to change this. So now our target is to produce less than 20 kilograms of waste per FTE per year. That just means per person per year. So this really places the emphasis on reducing waste in the first place, rather than just recycling. And yes, in 2023-24, we hit our target quite below, so we have to probably change our target. 14.6 kilograms per person per year. So what are we doing to actually achieve this? So the first thing is we are a refill campus, actually the only refill campus in the UK. And we did this by partnering. Well, I say partnering. We worked with City to Sea. A local CIC, and they basically have this branding all over Bournemouth Beach to try and encourage the community to bring reusable water bottles, etc. And we thought we'll have that branding on our campus to try and connect the community and the university. So all of our 45 refill points all have this really cool, brightly coloured branding to try and educate our students and staff that we are a refill campus, because we have quite a big international student community at Bournemouth Uni, and so many of them are, they come from places where they have to drink water out of a plastic water bottle, and it's sort of breaking down that barrier and communicating actually, yes, it is safe, it is free. And you'd be surprised, that is a really big reason why so many people actually continue to drink out of plastic water. So we also have something called a cup exchange scheme to try and tackle disposable cups. And we developed this ourselves. So the way it works, basically, you go to the cafe as a student or staff member and you say, I would like to join the cup exchange scheme. And you get given your drink in one of these reusable cups. And then when you finish your drink, you just give your cup back to the cafe and they'll wash it for you and they'll give you a little token in exchange. It's cup exchange. And then next time you want to drink, you go back to the cafe, give them your token, and they'll give you another cup. So this sort of eliminates the need for people to remember to bring their own reusable cup, carry it around with them, which should be simple, but we know it isn't. And it's a really accessible way of enabling people to use reusable cups. And yeah, so since implementing this in September 2023, we did see a decrease in disposable cup use, as you can see there. But we decided to take this one step further because we felt the uptake of the scheme was a little bit low. So we decided to do no disposable cup week. So totally ban disposable cups on our campus for 1 week. And we've done this 4 times now across since last year. And the idea is our catering staff on campus, they just refuse the sale of disposable cups and say, no, you have to either be in this scheme, bring your own cup, or drink in using crockery. And it had mixed success. So the first time we did this, it was relatively successful. So I think I don't worry. It's fine. So if we look here, so this was June 2023, and here is June 2024 when we implemented the scheme. And the blue bar that shows the sale of non-disposable cups, so reusables. So I apologise, it's a bit of a weird graph to try and understand, but basically it did actually reduce the amount of disposable cups. It had varying success when all of our students came back onto campus because our cafes got very busy, but it just shows that we need to try these things, right? And it goes back to what I was saying, we're not perfect, this didn't work seamlessly, but it did help to raise awareness. And what we know, sometimes when you feel horrendously guilty for having a plastic bag, because we know that it's really bad, our staff and students started to feel embarrassed by having a disposable cup with them, which is that kind of behavioural change we're trying to achieve. I think besides snack, sorry. Yeah, so we also do, because I'm in the sustainability team, and as part of our environmental management system, we do plastic audits. So I go around and take those photos, like Kerry was talking about, and it's amazing what you find once you actually take photos and record it and then develop an action plan to try and reduce it. As I said, we also try to reach out to the local community. So universities, are engines of knowledge. Right, we have, I think, a responsibility to use our expertise, our resources to share with the community. So we're doing this really cool film screening. We have an initiative called Sustainability Screenings at Bournemouth Uni, where we screen a film that has sort of high societal impact. And then we have a panel a little bit like this, and we showcase to the community how they can get involved, because we know that films can be a really emotive way to engage people with the topic rather than just talking. So yeah, we'll be screening The Grand Swim at our campus, and this film is available for free online, so I do recommend checking it out. It's really cool. We also, of course, being a university, produce research. We have some fantastic academics at our campus, some of which are starting to develop some plastic that can heal itself, which is really exciting. So they developed their technology, and now they're part of a research project to try and actually develop products. And it's really lovely. They try to sort of mimic Mother Nature. We also have academics who produce research on wish cycling, which is a really big problem. And for those who don't know what wish cycling is, it's for people who they're really desperate to recycle as much as possible, which is great, but end up putting things in the recycling that can't actually be recycled, and it becomes a really big problem. So yeah, there's a lot of good research coming out from the EU. And of course, we also teach students. So education is a really big part of this. And there's a whole area of work called embedding the Sustainable Development Goals into our curriculum. So I work very closely with all of our academic staff to try and achieve this. And we have 3 main targets. So the first one is 100% all of our programmes at BU need to align to at least one SDG. And currently 97% of them do, which is really positive. And we know that through a very complex SDG mapping exercise, which I do as part of my job. When we have to get all the academics to write down all the SDGs that their units align to. Our second target is all programmes must align to the climate and ecological crisis at each level. And we define the climate and ecological crisis as these 5 SDGs. So currently 69 of our programmes align to this. And finally, because this is a really important area in sustainability, which sometimes gets overlooked, is alignment to equality, diversity and inclusion. And 79% of our courses align to this particular target. So we're doing well, but as with everything, still have a long way to go. We also get our students to do, I say get them to do, they do it quite often without us actually asking them to, some really cool projects, not just as an extra, but actually embedded in their assignment. So for example, the very cool monster, that was a project done by one of our environmental science students to try and raise awareness that disposable coffee cups can't be recycled. The map below was made by a student who was trying to map the optimal places to put vape bins on campus to try and resolve the disposable vape issue. And that top one there is some of our media production students interviewing me as making a video to raise awareness to use our refill campus, to use our refill points. So you can see that regardless of what our students are studying, whether it's media, environmental science, business, we really try and encourage them to explore the Sustainable Development Goals as part of their course and also think about how they might address it in their career. So it's slightly different to sort of what you do with school children. It's more sort of career based. But yeah, our students are really passionate. And if you'd like to read a bit more about what we do at Bournemouth Uni, we have these two excellent reports. So the SDG report tells you all about what we do for each SDG across both education, research, operations, and engagement with the local community. And our climate and ecological crisis action plan, that's our roadmap for reducing emissions, and it tells you how we're doing against that. And a final thing, so there is a ranking system called the Times Higher Impact Rankings, and this is a global ranking of all universities across the world for their performance against the Sustainable Development Goals. So this year, we're extremely proud to have ranked 59th in the whole world out of 2,318 other universities, and 8th in the UK, and that's for our contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals. We rank 15th in the UK for that SDG 12, responsible production and consumption. So this is really great for us. And I just wanted to, something that I didn't put in my slides, but hearing all the great stuff from Kerry and Amy. There is a new initiative called the Climate Ambassadors Programme. And as I said, universities are engines of knowledge, and we are starting to connect with local schools through the Climate Ambassadors Programme to see how we as a university can use our resources, our knowledge from our academics, but our professional staff, in how we can support schools to develop their climate action plans, which they also will need well, it was supposed to be 2025, but it's going to be later than that. But yeah, so that's what Bournemouth Uni are doing. Yeah, very much.
That was really fascinating. Thank you so much, Izzy, for your insights for Bournemouth University. I think it was really cool hearing about how eco-justice can be such a multidisciplinary subject that can be transferred to so many different subject areas within the university. But also really cool hearing about the organisation operations too, and how you're trying to be more eco-conscious in your operations. So yeah, that was really good. Thank you very much. And to all of our guest speakers who have kind of contributed things that are related to education, they were really insightful and inspiring. So yeah, thank you very much. I think I picked up a little piece of paper. Sorry. Okay, so I think we're at about 12 o'clock now. For people's awareness, there is a different kind of workshop that is just about to start in the breakout space. And that is bringing reusables to the party, the story of communicating action on waste. And that is with Isabel. So if any of you were interested in that is starting momentarily. If you wanted to stay in the room, we'll now kind of open up to our guests for about 5-10 minutes or so. 5 minutes. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask any of our three speakers. So can we ask Becky questions still? Oh, yeah, we can ask Becky questions, but also Kerry and Izzy, then you're very welcome to. And that invitation is also extended to our online attendees as well. If you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat. Anyone in the room have any questions that you want to ask? Awesome. So,
Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody. This is a question for Becky specifically, so I hope she can still hear and is still there. And you mentioned about resources like plant-based glue sticks and things like that. I just wondered if you've got a list of resources of suppliers and things and where to find them rather than having to do all the research again. Just wondered. Thanks.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay, everyone?
yeah, perfectly. Thank
Yes.
you.
Right, okay. Before I answer, if you can't hear me. Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, I could source those. So we've spent quite a few, well, quite a long time trying to find the right places to source these plant-based glues and plastic-free alternatives. So yeah, they can be sourced. A lot of the work was done by our franchisor, who from the word go decided that plastic free materials, and actually I didn't touch on this in the talk, but we actually try and source vegan if possible as well. So we have that kind of angle to the materials that we use as well. She from the word go has worked hard to source these. So yeah, it's if you wanted to email me or my franchisor, if you wanted to directly on the website, then I'm sure we wouldn't mind sharing those.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Becky. I feel like someone had some at the front. Hey there. A question for Izzy. I actually wasn't really inspired by the word of university. The coffee cup scheme really interested me. And the challenges of getting it scheme to be used consistently. So what material were the coffee cups and what was the capture rate of the coffee?
What was the
What was the material that the coffee cups were made from? And what was the capture rate of time? What was the leakage of cups that didn't come back into your
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good question. In terms of what they were made of, we got them from a company called Circular & Co, which I'm sure a lot of you know of. And it's recycled, it's repurposed plastic, so it's not like virgin plastic. So that's a positive thing. In terms of the leakage of the cups, that has been a problem because people take them away and don't put them back into the system, which therefore jeopardises the circularity of it. But we do things called cup amnesties, where we sort of say, right, everyone bring your cups back today, and you'd be surprised actually it's mostly staff that hoard them in their offices. So sometimes I charge around the offices and say, come on, hand them in. So yeah, it has its challenges, but it's definitely worked, and it's more of a it's getting people to understand it in the first place. Once someone is in the scheme and has done it once, it's the most obvious thing ever, but when you don't know how it works, so it's a really big educational piece really, and the operational side of it is almost the bit.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Izzy. I've got a question over here.
Back to Becky, is there any eco super glue that you could recommend?
Super glue. No, although the glue that we sometimes use in classes and sessions is very sticky. But no, we don't really have any use for super glue. Obviously working with children a lot, it's very much for kind of yeah, arts and crafts aimed at children. Again, it's possibly, if you wanted to, worth emailing my franchisor Faye on the website, and because there's a few franchisees across the country who work a lot with adults. I don't do so much of the adult workshops myself, but yeah, possibly they might have found something for that. So, but I don't know personally. I don't have any use for super glue. It could be disastrous. There'd be fingers stuck and all sorts.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Becky. Okay, couple around here at the front.
Hi. First of all, Becky, Kerry, and Izzy, it's been a pleasure to learn all the good work that you all are doing, coming from different spaces of society, coming together. It's fantastic. I got a question for Izzy, and obviously also for Kerry, actually. But the question for Izzy is Bournemouth University working currently in any research with local businesses to try and work out data on the work local businesses may be doing, say retail shops. We work a lot with retail shops in that area, and I know there's so much success with consumer behavior and change out there. Bournemouth is fantastic for that, one of our strongest points in the south. Do you work in supporting those businesses so that they can materialize data that they can then provide their customers, so that customers can see visibly what the impact of refilling their containers is making in the community and the city?
Well, yes, yes and no. So I say first we do work very closely with our local businesses. One example is like the screening event, for example, that we're doing. We invite local businesses, like refill shops and that sort of thing, to come and sort of showcase their work to the community, to sort of raise awareness of it. And I know that a lot of our academic staff work very closely with these types of businesses from a student placement perspective, like trying to get students experience with those sorts of businesses. In terms of specifically producing data, no, but that's a terrific idea. And I'm definitely going to suggest that, because I think that is a real barrier, isn't it? Like showcasing to the community what the impact they are having. And we have some brilliant data scientists at the university, so I think that's a really brilliant idea.
Brilliant. And Kerry, for you, Plastic Clever Schools, doing amazing. So, yeah, do you think there's scope for students and parents and teachers to get involved in some form of fundraising through running social enterprises from the community, for the community, from the school? I don't know, involving training for the students and so on?
Yeah, I definitely think there's scope. I mean, schools are struggling for money, and often when a school signs up to be Plastic Clever, the children are so passionate about making a change. They often go running to the teacher saying, we want to replace glue sticks, we want to buy water bottles. The school doesn't necessarily have the finances for that, so that's when they try to involve parents, they try to involve local businesses. So there's it depends on the school, so it depends on the area they work in as well. So I definitely think there's potential for schools to work with parents, businesses, and get them involved in helping raise money. I say,
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for those questions. That answers you too. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. This is a question for Kerry, possibly more as a teacher. As a mum, I'm really astounded that there doesn't seem to be anything in the curriculum to equip the next generation of children with the skills they need to deal with the impending climate. Like what we're seeing it already, people dealing with it in this country. Is that true, or am I just missing it? And is that something that you're able to get involved with through Plastic Clever Schools?
There's nothing in the primary curriculum. There are elements within the secondary curriculum. And we strongly believe that initially Plastic Clever Schools was based in primary schools, and then we expanded it, and it works with secondary schools and colleges, universities and beyond, and local authorities as well. And the fact that it's not part of the primary curriculum puts a lot of emphasis on the teachers and even schools. Some schools have created their own curriculum to be more climate aware, but they're very rare. Most schools obviously stick to their own, like the national curriculum as much as possible. It's nothing that's going to change. It's embedded in our system, and it's not really going to happen. So we have to do it outside of the curriculum. We have schools that join up to the Plastic Schools Initiative often do it through an eco club, and they then inform the rest of the schools, rest of the school environment. But some schools involve the actual classes, and they deliver the assemblies, and then they do many projects within the classes, so it becomes a much more embedded within the whole school. So obviously it's an issue, but Plastic Schools is trying to tackle it in our own way.
Thank you so much, Lucy. That was great. Good contributions. I think we've got a question in the online.
Yeah, it's just we've only got time for one more because we need to start this next session from past 12 really. So it's mostly for Izzy, but happy for anyone to answer. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for fantastic talks with fascinating data behind it. You spoke about behaviour change where staff and students started to feel embarrassed about using disposable cups. Do you have any advice on how to gear similar programs while being conscious of the impacts of income, class, and disability on people's use of plastic?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think that was definitely an impact of the No Disposable Cups week. So we had signs everywhere. I felt bad for making so many posters, to be honest, but having it plastered everywhere, and it was all over the news, all over our digital screens, just having the wording No Disposable Cups week with a big picture of a disposable cup with a big X over it, it's kind of hard to walk around with a disposable cup, right? So I think it's a lot about the communication and the way it's campaigned, I suppose. So there are different ways of campaigning, aren't there? There's a very, this is really serious, this needs to be doing, this needs done. There's the more, really optimistic and positive way, and it's finding a balance. And I do think that you can take a lot of lessons from the plastic bag charge and the impact that's had on people's own behaviour. I'm not sure if that answered the question really, but I think it was really just how we sort of tailored the campaign and just made it so visual that you couldn't get away from it, really. Yeah.
There's some thumbs up on the Zoom, so that's great. I'm aware of 12:15, so we will start the next session about business. So I just want to say a huge thank you, and please say thank you to our fantastic three speakers.